This is CBN Newswatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm Mark Martin. A winter storm blasted through the Midwest yesterday, leaving at least 4 people dead in its wake, and it's not done yet. Today, from Missouri to Maine, 25 million are in the storm's deadly path. What's also ahead for the East Coast? Heather Sells reports on this wicked weather.
At least 25 million Americans face a winter weather alert today. A new storm system is moving from Missouri to Maine, forcing those in its path to take caution.
We can see the northbound vehicle cross the median and was struck by a southbound pickup truck.
In Nebraska, 2 were killed in this crash while snow fell. Authorities say weather may have been a factor. The winter storm brought snow and ice to the plains on Sunday, making it tough for holiday shoppers. Some people are trying to make the best of the weather, using the snow to their advantage. 8 inches of snow in Kansas City closed schools, but didn't stop the Chiefs and Broncos from taking the field Sunday. Adding to the fun with a pregame snowball fight and touchdown celebrations featuring snow angels. Today, the weather will expand into the mid-Atlantic and create slick spots for commuters from Indianapolis to Philadelphia. You can see here where the heaviest snow is expected today and tomorrow. On the East Coast, the storm will bring a combination of rain, snow, and ice. Forecasters say Pennsylvania and southern New England could get up to 1/4 of an inch of ice glaze on surfaces like power lines and hand railings. The second storm system is developing today in the lower Mississippi Valley, with snow and ice on the northern edge and severe thunderstorms in the southeast. Heather Sells, CBN News.
In other news, House leaders are gearing up for the final impeachment vote just before lawmakers leave for holiday break. If approved, the move would set up a 2020 trial in the Senate. Senate leaders are considering how to structure a trial for President Trump. In a letter to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer gave an overview of his party's offer for what he calls a fair bipartisan process and asks for testimony from White House officials who have direct knowledge of what happened in Ukraine: Mick Mulvaney, John Bolton, Michael Duffy, and Robert Blair, who all refused to participate in the House investigation. Republican leaders are not pleased with the process.
Clearly made up my mind. I'm not trying to hide the fact that I have disdain for the accusations in the process, so I don't need any witnesses.
A vote could come as soon as Wednesday. The Hallmark Channel says it will reinstate commercials featuring same-sex couples. Several ads on the channel from a wedding website showed 2 women kissing at the altar. It was pulled from the network following complaints from the conservative group 1 Million Moms. More than 40,000 people signed a petition saying the ad did not align with the network's mission to provide family-friendly content. After backlash from celebrities and LGBT groups, Hallmark reversed its decision. CEO Mark Perry issued a statement Sunday saying it was the wrong decision to pull the commercials. The United Nations voted to renew the mandate of the UN body that provides care to Palestinian refugees and their descendants. Only the U.S. and Israel voted against the resolution. Both have accused the agency of anti-Israel incitement. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell has more on the calls for radical changes in how the program operates.
For 70 years, the UN Relief and Works Agency has operated refugee camps for Palestinians.
It is about time to shut down UNRWA. They are not helping the Palestinians.
Israeli ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, tells CBN News hatred remains strong due to shocking incitement found in the Palestinian Authority school curriculum.
Today, a Palestinian child, when he goes to the UNRWA school, he comes out hating Jews, incited, supporting Hamas. It shouldn't be that funding from Western democracies will support such curriculum.
Israel welcomed the U.S. decision to stop funding to UNRWA more than a year ago. Researcher David Bedeen has studied Palestinian school books and UNRWA facilities for years. He says while it's not likely UNRWA will be shut down, donor nations should put conditions on their aid.
Number one, take the school books away. We have school books here which honor murderers and throughout the books and talk about dying for the right of return. Number 2, give people the option to leave the camps. Number 3, there's $1.2 billion flowing into the UNRWA camps without any real oversight.
In 1978, Dalal al-Mughrabi led a terror cell that killed 38 people, including 13 children.
She's pictured as a martyr in a new school book for 321,000 children. Dalal al-Mughrabi as a role model for the children who are taught the concept in UNRWA schools of the right of return by force of arms.
The right of return refers to the Palestinian demand that the refugees from 1948 and millions of their descendants be allowed to return to their homes, most of which no longer exist.
My name is Rasan Kuwar, and I am a refugee from the village of Malka.
Today, Malka is a busy Israeli residential and commercial area in Jerusalem. Badin's group recently produced a short film in Bethlehem's Aida refugee camp, just a few miles from Jerusalem.
There's no two-state or one-state solution. There's only one state, and it will be Palestine forever. And what was taken by battle will be reconquered through battle.
We must conquer our land by force. This land is our land. There's no way to divide it.
The children grow up with the idea that there is no Israel. It has to be ignored and or wiped out.
Badin believes the seeds of the next Palestinian uprising against Israel have already been planted in these camps. He says the international community needs to step up to uproot those violent seeds by putting conditions on their aid. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, we'll take you to one of the most unreached places on Earth. It's known as the land of the blue sky, and it's where a camp is changing lives, one young person at a time.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Happily, Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Welcome back. Our next story comes from a corner of the world where very few have even heard the name Jesus. A team of Russian Christians traveled to the remote areas of Mongolia with the gospel. Our reporter George Thomas joined them on their journey.
Mongolia is known as the land of the blue sky. That's because people here enjoy more than 250 sunny days a year. Landlocked between China and Russia, it's one of the world's least densely populated countries. With just over 3 million people, more than half live in the bustling capital city of Ulaanbaatar. The rest of Mongolia, which is roughly 3 times the size of France, looks like this. Vast, treeless grasslands where most people live a nomadic lifestyle, raising sheep, goats, cattle, camels, and horses. And as I discovered, there are hardly any paved roads. First time driving here in Mongolia. I grew up in Africa. I loved driving a stick shift, so I'm very, very comfortable on these kinds of roads. So this is fantastic, and there's no traffic. I recently joined 46 Christians from neighboring Russia, heading to remote Western Mongolia, where few have heard the message of Christ's love. Pavel Barsokov led the mission.
The heart of my Lord Jesus Christ is for the lost and hurting. I want to have the same heart.
For 9 years, Barsokov has made dozens of trips to Mongolia, bringing along young Russian Christians trained and equipped to serve as possible missionaries and evangelists. 17-year-old Elena told CBN News she got the call to missions at a young age. This is her third visit to Mongolia.
I read a book about a missionary in a foreign country, and since then, I have had this burning desire to share God's love with people.
This is Natasha Gorodnuk's first trip. She wants to serve in Nepal.
Every time I think about it, my heart breaks because I know the calling on my life and I know what I'm supposed to do.
For several weeks, Natasha, Elena, and 4 other Russians partnered with Mongolian Christians to hold evangelistic camps for young people.
We started working together with our Russian brothers and sisters several years ago to reach my people with God's love. What we are doing is vital for changing hearts and minds.
In between playing games and enjoying other outdoor activities, camp organizers like Natasha Grishenko introduce Mongolians to Christianity. This is her 10th visit.
These kids are the future of Mongolia. They are future pastors, future church planters, and possibly future leaders of this country. God willing, they will carry the gospel in their hearts and impact their nation for Christ.
To better appreciate the significance of these camps, you have to understand the history of Christianity here in Mongolia. Shortly after the fall of communism, there were only 10 believers in the entire country. Today, some 26 years later, some 60,000 believers are spread across this vast nation.
We are in a remote western part of Mongolia, and it is still one of the most unreached places in the world.
Michael Cherenkov with Mission Eurasia co-sponsors the camps. His group focuses on raising the next generation of Christian leaders in countries of the former Soviet Union and surrounding nations.
Sometimes we think that people around the world know about Jesus, but there are places like this that haven't been touched by the gospel.
And so, camps like this one serve as an ideal ground for sharing the gospel. Whoa! With young people. Lives like that of 22-year-old Buyana Davasumbu. She accepted Christ while attending camp here as a little girl. She graduated from Bible College in May and is now preparing to go on the mission field.
This camp was foundational to knowing God's love and preparing my heart to be a missionary. I try to come back every year to share my experiences of how I encountered Christ.
For others like 16-year-old Mashbat Bassan, a Buddhist, this was the first time learning about Christianity.
I learned in the Bible study today that God created the heavens and the earth, the animals and creatures of the sea. I never knew of these stories before.
This is also Kiliam Makmardor's first camp experience.
Many Mongolians don't believe in Jesus, and before I came to the camp, I also thought I didn't need to know anything about him. But now my heart has changed, and I've learned so much more about Christianity.
In all, some 1,000 young Mongolians heard the gospel, many of them for the first time.
I know there's all this controversy about Trump and alleged Russian collusion, but I encourage Christians in both of our countries not to focus on this. Millions of people around the world are going to hell because they don't know Jesus Christ. I'm not interested in politics. I'm interested about telling people about Jesus. Lives are in the balance, and we are commanded to go and tell others about Christ's love. This is what we are doing here in Mongolia.
George Thomas, CBN News, somewhere in Western Mongolia.
We are commanded to share the gospel. Well, still ahead, a former terrorist, a member of the Ku Klux Klan, is sending a warning about America's future.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
From Washington, D.C., uncompromising stories, interviews, and analysis from veteran journalists David Brody.
Escalating fight.
Jenna Browder.
Chose his words carefully.
Ben Kennedy.
Plan to join him.
And Amber Strong.
For impeachment grows a little bit louder.
Bringing you the political news that matters.
We get out and tell the story of the progress that we're making in this country.
Watch Faith Nation, weeknights at 6 on the CBN News Channel.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
As the nations rage, you can stand with Israel.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
Call 1-800-700-7000 and get to life.
This is our nature as a country.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is, this is what I'm doing.
Support Israel in their time of need. Get to Life, now available on DVD. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
And I wish that other people throughout the world could see this side of Israel.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
A terrorist sentenced to 30 years for planting a bomb at the home of a civil rights leader back in 1968. So what does this former Ku Klux Klan member have to say about the hatred and violence in America today? And who does he insist must confront it? Take a look.
I heard lots of sermons. I went to Sunday school regularly. I even made a profession of faith when I was 13 years old.
Listening to Tom Terrence, it's hard to imagine the soft-spoken preacher once served time in prison and survived 4 gunshot wounds in an FBI shootout before landing a 30-year sentence for planting a bomb at the home of a civil rights leader in 1968.
I hated black people, I hated Jews, I hated liberals, and on and on.
That hatred eventually drew him to the Ku Klux Klan.
My school had been selected for desegregation, and I became very angry about it.
In prison, Tom began a search for truth and deeper meaning that ultimately led him to the Bible. He became a Christian and acknowledged his sordid past.
I certainly deserved to die. I had deserved to go to hell for my sins. But in His great mercy, God spared my life.
Tom's faith grew with the help of prominent Christians like Billy Graham and Chuck Colson, founder of Prison Fellowship. He abandoned his racist ideology, and after an unexpected early prison release, Tom saw an amazing turnaround, eventually co-pastoring a multi-ethnic church in Washington, D.C., and leading a global ministry devoted to making Christian disciples.
It's not impossible for people who hold some basic Christian beliefs to embrace this kind of extremist narrative that I did.
Now, some 50 years later, Tom sees another cultural collision facing America. He reveals similarities between then and now in his new book, Consumed by Hate, Redeemed by Love.
I saw all of this as a kind of war, fighting for God and country.
A viewpoint still evident today.
Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us!
He points to April's deadly shooting at a California synagogue as an example of white nationalism growing on the internet and how it's worked its way onto college campuses and even inside some churches.
A young man raised in a Presbyterian church, Orthodox Presbyterian church, I should say, fell into this type of thinking and put them together, and then went and shot up a synagogue.
He calls on churches to confront this evil and believes the key to change is at the core of true Christian values.
Just teach the Bible. Teach what Jesus taught about loving God with all your heart, and soul and mind and strength, and loving your neighbor. All the different races and ethnicities and political perspectives. We're called to love one another.
A message and a calling he says is more urgent now than ever. John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
The name of the book is Consumed by Hate, Redeemed by Love, and you can find it wherever books are sold. Stay with us. There is more of CBN Newswatch ahead.
If you want to be an attorney with a passion for serving people and for excellence, Regent University needs to be high on your list.
Regent's award-winning law school doesn't just create lawyers. We create leaders, judges, prosecutors and defense lawyers, civil litigators, and leaders in government. Ready to become a purpose-driven, practice-ready lawyer? To start your rewarding career, complete the online application, submit your transcripts, and take the law school admissions test by July.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living, Tuesday night at 9:30.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Hillsborough Falls man, come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes too, and so much more. Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Thanks for staying with us. The Army has never had its own national museum, and that is set to change in 2020. The future capstone of the Army is still under construction on a hill in Fort Belvoir, Virginia. Gabe LaMonica takes us there for a preview.
When it opens, the steel fortress behind me is going to be the Army's first national museum. It's been a long time coming, but the Army took us inside for a sneak peek.
The big reveal of the U.S. Army emblem on the lobby floor comes some 2 years after installing the final steel beam, and some 200 years after the 13th U.S. Congress authorized a national museum for the Army.
We are the last service to have its own national museum.
It took a lot of heavy lifting to move in everything from this Cobra King battle tank, the first in Bastogne 38-ton legend that broke the German lines during World War II's Battle of the Bulge, to this M3 Bradley fighting vehicle that led the charge in the 2003 invasion of Baghdad. All before suspending this Vietnam-era UH-1 Huey from the ceiling and bringing in hundreds of artifacts in between. Now, the oldest branch of the U.S. military is rolling along and into a 185,000 square foot glass and steel citadel above 84 acres some 20 miles south of the nation's capital.
It represents a beacon, again, the strength of the Army, the safety of the Army, and that's how we protect our citizens as well.
Tammy Call is the museum director.
We tell the Army's story, the comprehensive story, through the eyes and voices of our individual soldiers.
One of those voices belonging to the late Melvin Nestaby, who survived the Bataan Death March during World War II.
I will always be a soldier.
Hundreds of American soldiers died when the Japanese Army beat and tortured prisoners of war during a forced march of more than 60 miles.
A well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Nestaby's New Testament Pocket Bible is just one of over 7.4 million copies issued to American GIs during World War II.
Lack of water or starving, this helped them through that time.
And this good book carried Nestaby past the perils of murder and disease over the course of 4 POW camps in 3.5 years.
He carried that with him throughout the duration of the war.
Paul Mirando is the chief of exhibits.
He gave his life, his service to the United States Army, and his story, along with this Bible, needs to be told.
The museum will cover the history of the Army from the Revolutionary War to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Army says that after over 240 years, this testament to its service and its soldiers is long overdue. Gabe LaMonica, CBN News, Fort Belvoir, Virginia.
It is long overdue. What a fascinating place to visit when it gets all put together. That's going to do it for this edition of CBN Newswatch. Remember, you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. Also, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen, and you can do that by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. Or be sure to talk to us on social media. We have channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.